Hey guys, welcome back to another video at Jensen's Reptiles. Today I want to show you my new and improved bearded dragon enclosure. So here it is now. It's an 8 by 2 by 2 foot enclosure, and I really wanted to make sure that Yoshi had way more space than he used to have in his 4 by 1.5 by 1.5 enclosure. So he's really got enough space to run around and stretch out now. So you can see him just there. Yoshi's 11 years old now, so he's an older boy. But I really wanted to make sure that for the rest of the time I have him, which I hope is another 5-10 years, wishful thinking maybe, but I really want to make sure that time is as well spent as possible with him, with a lovely big enclosure to enjoy. So you can see he's got absolutely loads of space now, really great lighting and heat gradient in here, which I'll go into in just a moment. But yeah, he's really got lots of space to stretch out, which is exactly what I was going for. So over on his cooler side, he's got a burrow, which is nice and cool in there for him. So the substrate in there is also nice and soft, so he can go and squish inside and go to sleep or even brumate if he wants to. And then over on his warm side, he's got this big rock, which he likes to bask on, as you can see here. And that is his warmer side. That rock is also great for any shedding that he may want to be doing, because it's nice and rough, keeps his claws nice and trim as well. But yeah, so that's a really great basking spot for him. As you can see, he really enjoys hanging out on there. And let me show you how we get those temperatures and the lighting gradient. So he's got two 50-watt Arcadia spots. They're the flood spots, and then he's got a 75-watt halogen basking spot as well. He's also got an Exoterra ReptiGlow full spectrum light, and he's got a 14% UVB dragon lamp, which is the Arcadia T5. So over on his cool side, he's actually got a light dead zone. So light only covers 75% of his tank, and then that way he's got a light gradient moving from less light to full light with the UV over towards the warm side, and then obviously with the spotlights providing him basking spots throughout the tank as well. So temperature wise, the basking spots provide him with a 20-degree gradient. So you can see over on the cool side, ambient temps are sitting around 30 degrees, and then way over on the no light zone drops down to 28.5. And then in the burrow itself, where he can go if he really wants to get nice and cool, we're looking at temperatures of around 25 degrees, which I'll show you just now. So over on his cool side alone, he has a gradient of 5 degrees Celsius, which is a nice gradient for him. And then over on his warm side, we're going to do our first spot check just on the floor, which is between two of his basking spots, and that should give us a temp of around 31-32 degrees. And then the next temperature that we're going to take is up on his basking rock itself, which gives us a nice basking temperature of 45 degrees. So you can see throughout the enclosure, he has a 20-degree heat difference, which is a wonderful gradient for him. Now, up on the right fan here, the right vent here, there's a fan behind it. Now what that fan does is it pulls warm air through the tank, making sure that that gradient stays exactly where it needs to be, especially on days that are a little bit warmer in the house. So it's going to pull warm air right from the cool end, keeping the cool end cool, and as the heat rises over to the warm end, it's going to pull it up and out. That means his air temperature is also going to have a great gradient throughout the tank. So talking a little bit about Yoshi himself, I feed him a varied diet of insects and salads. He gets a lot of greens. Because he's an older boy, he doesn't get insects as often as he did when he was younger, because he doesn't need that high level of protein anymore. But he still enjoys chasing down his locusts. So I've just put in a few here so you can see him really go for it. He sees them straight away when they're moving, but the thing with Yoshi now in his older age is that if they're not moving, he doesn't see them. So you can see when one of them starts to move again, he runs forward, he looks the other way, he needs it to move one more time, then he spots it. I didn't want him eating that dried bit of grass, so I just pulled it out, but it wouldn't have hurt him if he did. It's just grass. So I like to make his life a little bit easier sometimes, and especially for filming, so I put the locusts right in front of him so I could get a better shot, and he helped me out a little bit, but not a huge amount. As you can see, he's really keen on his bugs, but if they're not super active, he doesn't see them as well as he used to. That being said, he still has a great appetite, and he not only eats all of his salads, but he eats any moving insect that you put in front of him as well. And when we talk about the cleanup crew later, you're going to understand why that's been a bit of a difficult one with Yoshi in particular. So just a quick snapshot of his greens. He gets a mixture of spring greens, kales, things like that, along with some veg as well. So he'll get some radish, and then fruit-wise, he might get some grapes too. I really like to mix it up, so every week he gets something different, and it's usually what I'm cooking at the same time. So he will get the first pick because we love him, and we'll kind of cook with the rest rather than the other way around. If you do have a young dragon that's not eating their greens, don't be worried, it's completely normal, but you can put in some bugs into the salad as well. It looks like it's moving, and they'll usually get a mouthful of greens at the same time as they go in for that mealworm or waxworm or whatever you chose to put in there for them. Cool thing about Yoshi, as you can see here, is that anything on the tongs he wants to eat. So great way of feeding him greens is by giving them to him on the tongs. Now going back to the enclosure itself and the substrate I used a mix of substrates. So it's the Lucky Reptile Outback Red Desert Bedding and ProRep's Beardy Life mixed together. They make a really great substrate for Yoshi. They keep his claws in good condition, and they help him shed. Moving on to the bioactive aspects of this tank, we've got a few plants in there, so nice live plants which will help complete that bioactive cycle. And we've got some dead plants in there as well, just for looks. But one of the things that we did find was when we were putting insects in for Yoshi, we couldn't have them free roaming, so we had to find a space that was suitable for them. We decided in the end that putting them inside his cork log in the middle of the enclosure would be the best bet, because otherwise he will just eat them all. So what we did was put this Rose of Jericho into the cork log as a type of blocker, and then behind that is where his cleanup crew live, and you can see one of the beetles in there. Now, these tend to come out at night time, which means that they can do a bit of cleanup at night, which is wonderful. But we are still doing the majority of the cleaning in the tank. They're just there to clean up any excess food, any waste that we may have missed. We still will be doing full cleans of this tank because we can't guarantee that they're going to be getting all the waste at this point, because this little guy decides that it's more fun to eat them. So yeah, that is Yoshi's full enclosure. I hope you really enjoyed the video, and please do ask any questions you have in the comments. This was just intended as a snapshot of his new enclosure so that you guys didn't have to wait any longer to see it. If you have any particular questions about heating or lighting, or you'd prefer to see just a full video going into great detail about that, how it works, why you need to set it up a certain way, do let me know in the comments, because I'd be more than happy to make those kinds of videos for you. Now, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully be back on track with making more videos soon. I know I say that every time, and I get more useless every time I say it, but fingers crossed this time around. I'll catch up with you guys soon, and I hope you're having a great day.